Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. While English grammar can seem daunting, our goal is to simplify a vital component for both accurate writing and confident speaking. We are focusing on two key areas. First, we will clearly define the rules for countable and uncountable nouns, learning what we can count and how we must quantify the rest. Second, we will move into the crucial real world skill of asking for and giving directions. Mastering these concepts will significantly enhance your fluency and practical communication. Our focus is on clarity, correctness, and confidence. We are Group 8 from 15.1D.0 on Margonda, and we are ready to present this essential material. I'd like to quickly introduce the team. There is Akmal, Andy, Elizabeth, which is me, Karan, Mariano, Hazel, and Ginad. Let's begin. So, what is the plan for our session? We've structured the material for a logical and easy to follow learning journey. Here is our agenda. First, we'll start with the foundational basics of nouns. The main topic follows distinguishing between countable and uncountable words. Next, we will cover the essential linking words, quantifiers like much, many, few, and little. Crucially, we have dedicated a section to our tricky spots, common usage mistakes involving words like information and furniture. Finally, we shift gears to real world application with our module on asking and giving directions. We will conclude the presentation with a short Q&A session. The roadmap is set. Arnold, please proceed to slide 4 where we will define what a noun is.
Thank you, Libby, for the time that has been given to me. Now I will explain to you guys about uncountable and countable noun. But before that, we need to know what is a noun first. So, a noun is a type of word in a language that is used to name people, places, things, animals, ideas, or concepts. And noun serve as the subject, like who or what is doing the action, or the object, like who or what is receiving the action in most sentences. And next is basic types of noun. The first one is common noun. A common noun is a general, non-specific noun, like dog, school, happiness, cat, and also teacher, and etc. And the second one is proper noun. Proper noun, which are special noun to mention specific name of certain people, places, or object. And for your information, proper noun are always capitalized because it's a special noun. The example is Vito, it's a name of someone, and Harvard University is a name of places, a place, and Tuesday is a name of a day. Okay, that is for the proper noun. The third one is concrete noun. A concrete noun refers to object that can be seen, touched, felt, heard, or smelled, like apple, dog, music, coffee, desk, or a house. And the last one is abstract noun. Abstract nouns are nouns that describe ideas, concepts, or feelings that cannot be seen or touched, like love, freedom, fear, and information. So, after we know what is a noun and the basic types of noun, let's talk about countable and uncountable noun. The first one is countable noun. What is a countable noun? Countable nouns are nouns that can be counted or numbered. This means you can say one apple, two apples, and so on. Besides being numbered, countable nouns can also be pluralized, such as from apple to apples. And usually, countable nouns are identical to things or objects that can be seen, touched, or felt, but are not limited to things related to physical things. In the singular form, countable nouns often begin with articles such as a, and, the, and numbers. And for the plural patterns, generally we can add words such as a few, many, several, and so on. The example of countable noun is a book, an apple, a car, an idea, a dog, etc. And that's for the singular, and the plural ones is the books, a few apples, several cars, the ideas, some dogs, etc. If you guys are confused, here the example of countable noun in sentence. The first one is I have a book about history. The second one is she doesn't have an apple for lunch. And the last one is are there any cars in the parking lot? So that is the example of countable noun in sentence. Are you guys get it? Okay, so let's continue to the uncountable noun. Uncountable nouns are nouns that cannot be counted directly or expressed in numerical form. Generally, uncountable nouns refer to substances, abstract concepts, or objects that are too small are too small and too many to count one by one. FYI, uncountable nouns are always accompanied by a singular verb, and they do not have a plural form. The example of uncountable nouns are water, sugar, sand, and etc. So, if a countable can start with a, and, or the, then what about uncountable noun? So, to state the number or quantity of uncountable noun, we can use words or phrases such as some, a lot of, much, a bit of, and a great deal of. Or we can use specific size such as a cup of, a bag of, or 1 kilogram of, a liter of, a handful of, and etc. So, the example of uncountable nouns, like I said before, is water, milk, sugar, information, music, rice, and etc. That is the example. If you guys are confused too, here's the example of uncountable noun in sentence. The first one is I would like some water in my meal. And the second one, she doesn't have any information about the event. And the last one is how much sugar do you need for the recipe? So that's all about countable and uncountable nouns. And the next slide will be explained by my friend Theo. So thank you guys.
Okay, thanks Arnold. Let's learn about countable nouns. For countable nouns, forming the plural is usually straightforward, most simply as at s or as. However, English has many irregular plurals. These are words you simply must memorize, as they follow no logical rule. We change a vowel. Man become a man, tooth become a teeth, and mouse become a mice. Or the word change simply completely, person become a people, child become a children, and sometimes the word doesn't change at all, like sheep or fish. Mastering this irregular is key to sounding fluent and grammatically correct. Okay, next, go to uncountable nouns. Measuring the immeasurable. Since we cannot count water or information directly, we need a partitive parts, a kind of measuring unit or container. For example, you don't buy 2 milks, you buy 2 cartons of milks. You don't receive some advice, You receive a piece of advice. Okay, look at the example on the screen, guys. A piece of advice, 2 bottles of juice, a loaf of bread. We are counting the container, piece, bottle, and loaf, not the mass inside it. Okay, that is all from me. I hope you all understand. For the next material, I leave it to Akmal. Thank you.
Much, many, and a lot of. On the 8th slide, I'm going to explain the quantifier much, many, and a lot of. These quantifiers are used to describe large quantities, but each one has its own rule and nouns. 1. Many. Many is used with countable nouns. It is mostly used in negative sentences and questions. It focuses on individual items. For example, how many books do you have? Point 2. Much. Much is used with uncountable nouns, also used mainly in negative sentence and question. It focuses on volume or mass. For example, I don't have much time. Point 3. A lot of or lots of. The quantifiers can be used with both countable and uncountable nouns. They are commonly used in affirmative or positive sentences. They are the safest, the most natural way to express a high quantity. For example, she has a lot of homework. Slide 9. The nouns of few and little. Next, on the 9th slide, I'm going to explain the quantifiers few and little, including their positive and negative nouns. This quantifier describes small quantities, but they can express very different meanings. The first point, a few, used with countable noun, means a small number but still enough or sufficient. It has a positive nouns. There is some help. For example, I have a few friends here. And the point 2, few. Also for countable nouns means a small number, almost none. It has a negative nouns, not enough. For example, I have few opportunities to practice. And point 3, a little, used with uncountable nouns, means a small amount but still enough. This also has a positive nouns, there is still some left. For example, I have a little money. And point 4, little, used with uncountable nouns, means a very small amount, almost none. It has a negative nouns indicating a shortage. For example, there is little time remaining.
This is the most critical slide for event accuracy. These are words that are always countable in English, even if your native language treats them as countable. Take a look at this list. Information, advice, work, furniture, progress, accommodation, baggage, behavior, news, traffic, travel, trouble, weather. This word never taken as. You must always say, for example, some information or a piece of information, never informations. How much work, never how many works. New furniture, always singular, never furnitures. The noun here is the perfect test case for the countable and uncountable rule. When you speak about the entire mass of hair on someone's head, it is treated as uncountable singular. It remains singular. She has long blonde hair. However, if you refer to individual strand of hair, you are now counting discrete item. And I becomes countable. I found a hair in my shoe. So if you are getting older and counting the gray strand, they are here. If you are talking about your hairstyle, it is here.
Talk about imperative verb when giving direction. When someone asks you for help, you need to respond with clear and simple comments. This comment use the phrase from past the verb. This is called the imperative. You don't need to say long sentences like you solve to life. Instead, just use the verb indirectly. For example, words like this means continue forward without turning. turn left or turn right. This tells the person to change direction. Use when choosing a route, such as take the exit. Cross. Use when going over something like cross the bridge. To make your instruction even clearer, combine the verb with landmark and distance. For example, turn right at the first traffic light, then go straight for 2 blocks. The short comments make your direction easy to follow. Next, we have preposition of place, which are extremely important when giving direction. Preposition help you explain exactly where the destination is in relation to other objects or buildings. For example, you can ask, is it next to the stop? Is it between 2 buildings? Is it opposite? First from the main square. This will help the listener visualize the final location clearly. And finally, always on your direction by telling person which side the destination will be on. For example, it will be on your left, or it will be on your right. You can miss it. This ensures they know exactly where to look once they arrive. That's all from me. Thank you. The presentation will now be continued by my friend Fadli.
Final review and conclusion. Let's quickly review the key takeaways. Countable versus uncountable. Countable items are pluralists. Uncountable items are treated as a mess and require a partitive to be sliced off. Quantifiers use much and many carefully, rely on a lot of for positive statement, and understand the difference between feel negative versus feel positive. Tricky nouns treat information, advice, word, and furniture as uncountable. Correction. Start polite, use clear imperative verbs, and finish with prepositions. Alright, thank you very much for your attention during the presentation earlier. Now, we are going to move into the session that I look forward to the most, which is let's discuss question and answer. Thank you.
Excuse me, can you help us?
Yeah, what is it?
We want to ask the direction to the nearest train station. Can you help us?
The nearest train station is Universitas Indonesia Station.
Oh, what is it?
So once you get out of this building, just turn left and go straight until you see a pedestrian bridge.
After that, you just must cross the road using the bridge, and after that, just go straight again until you see the sign of University Indonesia Station.
So after seeing the sign, the station should be right there for it.
No, you are wrong. Because after you see the sign, you need to turn right and enter the light.
And after that, if you saw 2 roads, just take 1 right.
That's a little complicated, I think.
So after that, did we go straight again or what? Exactly. Now all you need to do is keep going straight until you see a pedestrian bridge again. And you should see the station right there.
If you guys are confused, just ask someone later.
Okay, guys, thank you for the help.
Yeah, you're welcome.
See you guys, we gotta go.